I'm Dr. Michael Patterson, clinical psychologist and EMDR Europe accredited senior trainer. I run trainings and workshops for experienced mental health professionals. In this video, one of them is asking me a particular question. Please join us.
Yes, my question is around the flash forward.
Okay.
So I find it very difficult when I'm not, like, if a client comes in and they don't actually have a past memory that they can identify, but what they're really anxious about or what's really triggering for them is that catastrophic future image. Because then you're actually working with something that hasn't happened. It's all in the imagination. So I'd like to hear from you a little bit about maybe, it's fine if that future catastrophic image links back to a past event, then you can process that and then move forward. But if the client actually doesn't seem to have a memory, how do you then, do you just like go for that future catastrophic image? And, I'm often a little bit lost when it comes to that.
Well, I suppose if I explain the steps I would take, so let's say the client comes in and have this feared future situation. And the thing to remember is that there's a model of the brain. So got the spinal cord leading up into it, where the button is the limbic system with the amygdala that acts as the sentry and the cortex on top of that. So by the client linking into the feared future situation, as far as the amygdala is concerned, this is a threat situation that's present in the here and now. Sounds the alarm, the stress hormones get released, the cortex disconnects, and the client goes into a state of increased arousal. So because of that, we've activated a memory network of something that's there, but being fed by something earlier that's created that fear. But the client can't consciously access this at the present time. Right? Let's say, where does it come from? Or where did you learn this fear? I don't know. So what I would do as step one is taking the client's history and depending where the client would be in this complexity continuum, as you think about this fear future situation, is there a picture in your mind? Get the negative cognition, the emotion, the feeling in the body. So just think of those that negative words, that negative statement, that emotion, the feeling in the body, and float back to an earlier time in your life when you felt something similar. Now, the client may not be able to tell us what it is when we use direct questioning, but by doing the float back, we use the brain's associative capacity to connect to an earlier memory that might now just pop up, which wasn't readily available. Now, although they might have floated back, they might say, no, nothing's coming up. Well, that's okay. We'll get the rest of the history. But what I've sometimes found is that when we take the history, when we came to the appropriate part of their life that's significant, the memory pops up. So I've now got a memory network. Put an asterisk beside it, taking it through, up pops another one, note it down as well. So now I've got a target plan, which ultimately they want to work in the feared future situation. Now, in the absence of the past memories, and I'm thinking, again, assessing where is the client in this continuum of complexity. Are they down towards this end? So if they are, I'm not going to be jumping in straight away to do the fear future situation. I want to make sure the client can regulate affect. The client is not particularly dissociative, but again, the client is going to be safe no matter what it is that we bring up. If we link to the feared future situation, there is a chance that the client then might connect straight back, bang, 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 straight back to all sorts of horrendous abuse. So again, we need to understand our clients and where the client is in this continuum of complexity. If they're between here and here, and they can't remember really any past events, but they have the feared future situation, we've taught them stabilizing strategies, and they're very good at that, then I would test it out and see how it goes. So when it comes into the feared future situation, if that's what we're processing, bring up the picture that represents that. And it might be being involved in a road traffic collision and the grandchild in the back of the car flying out of the car seat through the windscreen and ending up on the ground dead, which hasn't happened in reality. In fact, they may not even have been in a car crash with the grandchild in it. So it's still a feared situation. So it's about that person being given responsibility to care for this child and something bad happening when the child is in their care. So Marianne, if you were that client, let's say, And what do you think that would say about you as a person if you weren't responsible for the care of that child and something bad happens to it?
Mm-hmm. It's my fault.
Okay, and if it's your fault, what would that say about you as a person?
I'm a terrible person.
Oh, right. So where did you learn that? So then we're thinking, so we can see, like, although the client is experiencing this in relation to this feared future situation, where do you think the client learned it? Probably way, way back in time. Probably going back into childhood as well. So we know there will be a series of past memories stored dysfunctionally that are feeding into the present, but the client can't access them just yet. But we know it's about personal defectiveness. And so if we're processing that, we feel the client is stable enough to be able to process. By starting to process that, they might link back to the past experiences anyway. And if they can handle it, just go with it.
Okay.
An alternative might be to use EMD on the feared future situation to keep the client contained. So if the client's further down the complexity continuum and you're a bit concerned about the client's ability to manage affect, then EMD can keep them that bit more contained.
Right. Perfect. Thank you, Michael.
So thank you.